In this episode, we want to talk to you about maple. But what we really want to talk to you about is making maple syrup.
The inspiration for us to make maple syrup came from Stuart McLean's Vinyl Cafe, where Dave makes maple syrup. Stuart talks about the discovery of maple syrup by the native people, and he talks about his making maple syrup in the past in his town. But it finally ends up with Dave deciding to tap local maple trees and making syrup. And so the wonderful story of spending way too much money and effort to make a very small amount of syrup is why we went out and bought maple taps and started tapping our trees.
Angle. Oh, it's running already. Here's my hole. Oh, there it is. Work. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to put one in right here because it looks like maybe it's part of the center of this whole bulging tree, and the other one I'll put probably in here. I think they're supposed to be at least like a foot apart, so I'll run it around this side more, over here. And then the jug can sit here. It's just bending it. I don't like the plastic ones.
Plastic ones are not as good.
We have 10 plastic ones that we got as bargains and 5 metal ones. I like the metal ones both for putting in and taking out. So I got a groove in here and a groove in here, so I'm guessing this is like a small branch. A small tree, part of the big tree.
And what we've read is not to drill too fast because you don't want to seal up the wood with the heat. We started with a hand drill, an old wiggle stick, but broke our bit. So we've switched to modern means.
Use this to clean it out.
That's dribbling out.
Thick. There we go. That's a good sign. Got the hammer.
When we first moved in, we were walking down the road and we're picking up the maple leaves that are like the size of your head, and I was really excited about these leaves and wondered what kind of maple tree is this, and sure enough it's called the big leaf maple. So that's less than 24 hours.
Yeah. This one's actually pretty good too. Not bad. It's got a lot more sedimenty stuff in it in the bottom. Maybe it's just ice, I don't know. That's about half full. Almost, that's good. So, the first time we did this, you can see it's really clear. It looks like water. We thought it was just rainwater, and then we realized there's no way that it can rain that much into a bucket with a lid on it. And if you taste it, it's like very little maple taste. So this is kind of a disappointing day. It didn't get down to freezing last night. It was just above freezing, and we get, looks like 4 gallons or so.
Another beautiful day in Squaw Valley, and we're walking out on an inch or two of fresh snow. So it's been a few weeks of collecting maple sap and turning it into syrup, and we got nothing for a while. And now it's March 3rd, and we just had a great day. Still have 5 gallons inside from yesterday, and so we have 10 gallons, more than 10 gallons out here, 11 gallons I think. We wanted to get a start on it, so we brought it out here to our outdoor burner. The temperature has been below freezing at night, and we've had some changes in the weather. We had some snow, and now it's gotten to be nice, and so the barometric pressure is changing the last few days, and Dot thinks that makes a difference. So we'll go with that. We just had a good day, so something is a little bit different. We did re-drill about half of our taps and move them to different trees, or at least re-drilled them on some of the same trees, because we were getting absolutely no production for about a week, and now they're producing again. And here we're trying to bring it up to a boil to reduce it.
So when this boils, we'll get kind of a foamy top to it, and we'll skim that off because that contains a lot of the sand and residue that comes out of the sap when you boil it down.
The so-called sand.
Yeah, they call it sand. Looks like sand.
It looks like sand.
Look like, I don't know, really fine, like sawdust or something today. One of our most memorable quotes from Dave Makes Maple Syrup is where Morley agrees to it, and she says, well, I guess you're going to need a horse. I mean, to do it properly, I mean. Where are you going to get a horse? Okay, so we couldn't find a horse, but we got the next best thing. Our friend Zach is here to help.
It's March 4th, and we did another big day of collecting sap. We had over 13 gallons today. We even had to leave one of the larger buckets out to continue collecting overnight. So we have all our large pots in the house, boiling sap down, both inside and outside. And so we've decided that 15 taps is enough for us.
And here on our wood burning stove, we have one pot of about 4 gallons of maple sap, and what used to be about 4 gallons of maple sap. The ratio ends up being about 40-1, so out of 5 gallons of sap, you're going to end up with 1 precious pint of syrup. Okay, so we're down to about a pint or so, and so that's about right. And yeah, tastes like maple. It's good. And what we're using here is just an ordinary set of coffee filters. Got it in a funnel. We also have you can buy special filters. We have one for when we're doing big quantities, but coffee filter seems to work just fine when the liquid's hot. This is going to filter out some of the sludge that sits in the bottom, also called sand. And yeah, that's exciting. So you can see some of the sand particles, the residue that's left in the bottom here. That's what we're trying to filter out so we have a really nice clear syrup when we're done. I'm not even going to dump that in. Isn't that pretty? This time we're going to be using the heavier felt type of funnel rather than using coffee filters as a filter. You can buy this on Amazon under the maple syrup supplies. You'll find it there. And you'll see that it does go much, much faster than the coffee filter. Got our big pot of maple sap here. This is just the pre-filter. We aren't done with it yet. There's quite a bit of stuff in the bottom here, sand from the sap that we really don't want to mess up our filter any more than we have to, so I'm not going to dump that in. And you can see in here how much it's taken out already. I'll just rinse this out inside out. You don't want to squeeze your filter. You just let it dry out naturally. The temperature of boiling water for us was reading at about 210 to 11 degrees. So we want the temperature of the sap to be at about 218 to 219 degrees. And we're currently at 216. Okay, so as an example of how quickly this last bit can go, I checked it, the thermometer, it was at 217 degrees and we were shooting for 219. I set my timer for 15 minutes because I figured that was conservative. Came back 15 minutes later and you can see the foam on the top edge here. It had boiled up all the way to the top and the temperature had risen all the way beyond where we wanted it. So this is going to be nice sugary stuff, up to 225. A little bit on the high side, a little bit high on the sugar content. We're going to go ahead and dump this through the filter again and bottle it. Had I gone with what I was originally shooting for, which was about 3 pints, I should still be, this is probably a little less than that. That would have been just as accurate, if not more so, because I've lost a little bit in the process here. You can see the bottom where it's starting to stick on from the boiling. That's not what you want. That's going to be tough to get off. And you can see in the filter here, it's a little bit on the thicker side, going through the filter a little bit slower at the bottom, but still much better than if we were trying to use coffee filters. A lot of stuff going on the outside of this. We have more than enough beer bottles here, cleaned up, bleached them out, rinsed them really well, put new rubbers on the ends of the ones where the rubber was getting a little bit brittle, and we'll go to bottle it. The rubber funnel tends to seal up the outside edge of the bottle, so that's why I'm getting this gurgling as it's going in, and it's not allowing the air to go in around the bottle.
Stop.
Sorry.
And now it's time to enjoy some of our early bottled maple syrup. And the best way to enjoy maple syrup is on French toast.